Greetings and salutations, my fellow Illumineers. It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another stream, another day, another stream. The LCC continues, and we have another action-packed match coming your way with two high-profile players. Today, we have Zach Bivens, Mr. Number One Seed and powerhouse of the sale, versus Joe Speci Curly. You might know him from YouTube. You might know him from Twitch. You might know him from other trading card games, but he is a fantastic Lorcana player, and it is going to be a fantastic match. But I am not alone. With me in the booth again, I have a good friend. You know her, you love her, the beautiful and competent and capable, the fantastic Miss Queen Mia Angelica. Let's go.
Hello. I'm so excited to stream today with you. And I think there will be a great match because also Zach, he was like the first champion of LCCC.
Yep. And he's back trying to go back to back. But Queen, before we get started, go ahead and take some time to introduce yourself to the Quest world again for those who may not know who you are. Tell them how you got into Lorcana. Tell them everything about you and your game and how you feel about set 7.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Hi, so I'm Queen Nyamyabu and also Angelica, and also some of you may know me as Lorcana Queen. And I've been playing Lorcana since the very beginning, since set 1. And so usually I play some red decks, like red blue and red purple, but I also like other decks, like everything in Lorcana. And I made it to the top 64 at Bochum. So it was a challenge in Europe, and I did it with my red-purple deck. So talking about set, I think like everything is blue, everything is sky blue. But personally, I'm also trying to test some other decks, like still my red-purple, and yellow still seems still to be quite a good option.
Okay.
And I think that the meta is not defined yet, so we can still see a variety of decks.
Okay, and I'm ready for it. I think it's going to be the meta is already starting to resolve itself a little bit, and everything seems like it's kind of solidifying on those Ruby, Sapphire, and Sapphire Steel. But there are some other decks that are coming out, and in this event today, tune in because you got a special treat. There will be no Sapphire in this match that we have coming up. So if you are sick of Sapphire, you're going to be in it for a nice warm approach. As the first deck we're going to talk about, the first player we're going to talk about is who I would call the challenger. We're going to introduce Speci here. If you have been around the Lorcana scene, you know who this Illumineer is. This is Speci, the specimen, Curly, right here. He is very popular on YouTube, very popular on Twitch, but he is more than just a content creator. He is a fantastic deck builder and fantastic player. A lot of trading card game history, and now he has landed on Lorcana. And for this event, he has brought forth this Amethyst Steel lore deck. We call it story deck, he says. We don't want to use the term burn deck. He doesn't like that phrase. He's calling it a story deck. He's shopping that around. But still, I think this deck is very dynamic. It seems quite consistent, and it's trying to get lore aside from just questing. You have the Gathering Wisdom and Knowledge, and now you have the Fairy Ship included in this deck, along with the Honey Mary, and you have the Maleficent in here at 4. Speci did lose last round to Kurt Spice, but he did defeat Worlds qualified player Sailor in round number 1, trying to continue on in round number 3. But looking at this deck, Angelica, I know you had a little bit of a history playing some Amethyst. What do you think about this strategy, and what do you think Speci is trying to do here in this round?
I think he's trying to beat up the blue decks because all these burn decks are really good at gaining lore quickly, and when we see his list, I think that's what he wants to do. But the question is, will he be able to do this with the yellow still?
I think he might be able to, but looking at some of the changes that he made, here's the deck that Speci played in round number 2 versus the deck that he played in round number 3. Still hanging out with the Maleficence at 4. He's got the Benja at 3. He's still hanging on to the Gathering Wisdom and Knowledge. But if you switch over to the round number round number 3 deck, he has now removed the Benjas out, and we have the Fairy Ship, and we have, what else was changed here? I'm trying to figure out the rest of the changes, but I think that's what it is. You just cut the Benjas and you added the
cannons. We only see 1/5 the cannons.
And
So yeah,
okay,
I guess that's it. And talking about benches, I think that like the objects, there are so many of them. Three benches are not enough. So it's better to lure instead of trying to control the deck, like the blue steel or blue red by destroying the objects. Spacey decided that it's better just to rush. So
yeah,
I guess that's why.
I think it might be better just to go for it. So I do like this deck a lot. I do like the change that Speci did. But really quickly, we're going to talk about Zach. We have Mr. Bivens, and his deck list just disappeared. I don't know what happened here. Let me open that back up as I just here it is. We'll switch to this screen. I do apologize for the technical difficulties there. You guys didn't see that. We do have Mr. Bivens' deck here as LCCC2. He brought another deck. He had the Cinderella Stout Hearted in there, which has now been removed from the deck. He still has those 3 World Greatest Criminal Minds. The Finum Platinum is also removed from the deck. He's still leaning on those Neverlands, but we're going to increase the Nala power of the strategy. So we got 1 Nala, now we're up to 2. I think the deck is now complete. It is completely a tier 0 type strategy, but also he removed the Storm Rage on down to 2. So Queen Mia, can you tell me about this deck and what Mr. Bivens, do you like the changes? Do you like what he's got going on here?
Oh, I think Nala is quite a sticky character. Like when the opponent sees all these Mr. Smiths and Ariels and Lawrences, you don't really want to remove Nala, but she gains this one lure all the time. So I think maybe that's why the change. And the Cinderella, probably he found it a bit too heavy for the current meta. That's like it's not so easy to play her probably. So yeah, I really like both lists. I would say, I don't know, personally, I played something that was more like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can understand the decision, I think. And also, there is this Prince Naveen who is twice in the deck. And now we have Gaston plus Naveen.
Gaston plus Naveen instead of Naveen.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't even notice that change. I didn't
yeah.
even see that one, Queen. So I'm kind of cropping in here a little bit, and we should be getting ready to start. The players are absolutely ready, and I'm just kind of cooking here off to the side. So I got one more thing that I kind of want to showcase to the world, and then we can talk about this for a little while, and then we'll be ready to start. I'm actually holding the players back a little bit, and I'm going to put this. And where did Zach's deck just disappear? That is so unfortunate, but it is what it is. So we do have Zach, we do have Speci. I am cropped in, and it is time to begin, it seems. So just give me one more minute, and real quick, Mia, and out there in the chat, we do have a slight delay. Hopefully everything is sounding good. Hopefully everything is looking good. But can we really quickly get a prediction? Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to take it all? How do you think this match is going to go?
It's really difficult to say because I think maybe that this matchup is favorable for Zach because Zach has these aggro characters and also he has some tools to control the aggro characters in front of them. But I guess if Speci starts, maybe he has a chance. Maybe he will be able to develop the board sufficient enough. And like also Zach really needs to find his songs. And now we only see 2 storms. So it's quite unfortunate against an aggro deck because you want to destroy all the small maleficents and stuff like this.
Absolutely.
So
But Queen, it is time to begin. The players are ready. I am ready. You are ready. It is time to quest. So make sure you get those seat backs up in the locked position, and let's get ready to begin. It is time. It is time. It is time. Let's do it. And the players are all knotted up, all lured up, all altered up, and the game is about to happen. I'm excited. And I want to mention a little bit. I didn't really get to mention a lot about Zach's accolades. We kind of got started a little later than I would have liked, but it is what it is. I thought we were early, but in fact, the players were ready to roll, and I'm the one holding the process back. But I did want to mention that Zach is a perennial all-star. He is the LCCC reigning champion, one of the premier players in the game. Always put into that echelon as one of the top 4 players right now. I think that's pretty clear across the board to everyone. He's a super strong competitor. But Speci, he has kind of assumed this underdog role, but he's not like some geek off the street. Okay, he knows what he's doing. I do tune into a lot of his streams and on his YouTube, and he has a lot of information in this game, and he could use this as an opportunity to bolster himself in this community. If he can come out and win this tournament, and another thing, Queen, is that Speci's deck is about $50. Okay, that is a huge gripe and complaint about the community, is that some of these cards and choices are too expensive and you can't play the meta strategies without breaking the bank. Speci has proven like, hey,
This is a true Robin Hood
yeah,
for the community. Yeah.
and that's a really cool thing. So
Like,
secretly,
yeah, that's so cool because it's so affordable. Like everybody can repeat his deck.
yeah, so secretly, I am kind of rooting for Speci because of that reason. Because hey, he might not be the world class player. He's just very strong, capable player, but he's not a world class player, and he's not breaking the bank. So if he can do it, that means you can do it. And that's going to be an inspiration to a lot of people. But again, taking nothing away. But this is a great start for you, as Zach is kind of bricked a little bit, as you got the double Zeus is in hand, and we have the Storm Rage On is in hand.
He inked his location, yeah, to play the Cinderella, who can actually sing the Storm region already. So yeah, I would say that two Zeus songs, yeah, as they're uninkable, they kind of stick to Zach's hand. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I have a feeling that Spacey being an aggro deck, yeah, I'm just wondering if he will play the location or the character. Because if he plays the character, he will give the opportunity to Zach, yeah, to use his Storm Region and to draw another card, and maybe to find some 2-drop.
Yeah, I think that is.
Oh, look at this! We have the third Zeus coming in. Oh my
Oh
god,
no!
he's
So
playing poker. He has confused the game.
and he does this. Is if Space is gonna win, this is the game you want to kind of take this, as you are going to go ahead and storm, and you get another uninkable card. This is looking not great for the number one seed, I would say, as you're going to be forced to ink that Lawrence. You really would have liked to hang on to that Lawrence in this situation to challenge to that fairy ship, but you are sitting on 4 uninkable cards to start this matchup off, and that is absolutely unbearable from Mr. Bivens. I'm sure he's staring at his hand like, what have I done? So you need ink to come off that deck on this next turn, or you might be in a pretty compromised situation. But now Speci might take your play and try to get this fairy ship set up, or maybe put down a Smee. Even a Chernobog fairy ship is okay, but your opponent did just storm you, and usually if there's one storm, there's going to be another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's astonishing. The only inkable card is Ariel, but actually it's not an inkable card. It's like a fake inkable card because there are cards that you really don't want to ink.
Mm-hmm. And
And
that's
Ariel is definitely among them.
any other card off the top of this deck, I'm fairly certain is going to go onto the inkwell, and Speci will take your maneuver and just put this fairy ship on into play. Get the Chernobog followers down as well. Not threatened by the Cindy singing another storm, and he gets the Smee. Okay, so you are alive and well, as Smee is going to immediately find himself down into the inkwell, and you're going to get this Ariel in as well. If you can find a storm off this Ariel, you
Hoping
are
to
right back
find, yeah,
into it.
the second storm, but the chances are very low because when you only have 2 storms in the deck, yeah, he still found 2 songs, and so that's an inkable.
Mm-hmm. And
That's already good.
and in this matchup, it's probably an unplayable card. It's so not
No,
good
yeah.
for this type of environment. So getting it right down to the ink, we'll have some guaranteed ink for next turn, and then this Ariel can basically turn into a turret and just start getting tremendous value off all of these Zeuses that you have. You can take down the fairy ship, take down the Chernobog, whatever, but you also have to be fearful of the Fox that you know. These are open deck lists, so the players know exactly what the other person has in store. So you have to play around a lot of different things. As we are having a little bit of technical issues, please just bear with us as it is going to be resolved. But as it's being resolved, I'll go ahead and hop into the chat real quick. Yo, we are on a 5-ish minute delay, maybe like a 6-minute delay. So please just stick with us out there as I'm seeing everyone starting to file in. I do appreciate it. Yo, shout out to Wochuk in the building. We got Lorcana Spins in the building. We have the Forbidden Mountain is in the building. We got Corey Smashes is in the building. Yo. Much love to all of you. Hope you guys like the pink. I had to bust it out. I have nobility here. I have royalty. This is the queen. Is with me. So, of course, I got to be dappered down with the pink. You know what I'm saying? I hope you guys enjoy that. As, you know what I'm saying? We're doing our thing with the queen. And we're back. So it looks like we're just going to go ahead and get the world's greatest criminal mind. We'll get a quest and pop in with the Chernobog. We'll gain one from our ferry ship, and we'll reveal the goat. So you have options here for Speci. You don't have the character to get into the play right now, but Pete is super strong as all of your hand is completely unplayable.
Oh, it hurts to see that. Okay,
Okay, okay.
top deck another Ariel because yeah, I was just about to say that like Zach will be probably facing this difficult dilemma because if he didn't top deck anything interesting, anything valid, he would have probably been forced into playing the whole new world and discarding three Zeus
Mm-hmm.
cards. But yeah,
I,
with
I
Peach, he has less dilemma.
I honestly think that hanging on to these, I think Zach still might be in a okay spot because now he has two turrets set up. He's got a double aerial, double Zeus play, which is tremendous tempo, and he could hard cast a third Zeus, so he can play all of these Zeuses this very next turn and complete. No,
There,
never
no,
mind.
no,
No, no.
no, no, he cannot.
No, you can't. Forget Queen. Forget I said anything. You cannot do that because guess what? You have just been peated again for the second time in a row, and Mr. Bivens has to be stunned on that. He's like, "Come on, dude!" And you're still basically top decking because all of your cards are unplayable. As Nala has to be a breath of fresh air. You're like, "Oh, finally, I got a character I can put in." As we're going to quickly ink that world's greatest criminal mind and probably exert one ink to play this Nala. That's literally your only play. But Mr. Bivens being a tactician, thinking about it, making Speci
I
not
think
know that he's
Peach will
bricked.
become. Yeah, and I think Peach will come back the next turn. I have a feeling because I see this Madam Mime Fox and Madam Mime Snake in Space's hand. That
Yeah.
means that I guess Speci will just quest with his Pete and maybe like use Madam Mime Snake, ink something, and play Pete again because like this, I guess Speci could have deduced the fact
Oh,
that Zack doesn't have any characters in his hand.
you are correct. And he can keep playing Pete's for the next few turns because he can go Pete here and then Pete again the following turn. And Mr. Bivens is going to be in trouble at that spot because now you're getting into a dangerous terrain as we will take your play. Good call on that as we'll bounce the Pete back to hand and then redeploy the Pete again. And this is trouble, trouble, trouble for Mr. Bivens. How is he going to crawl out of this one? You need to get to a point to where you can. Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. That's a quadruple Zeus in hand. You are bricked. Omega, that feels miserable. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Mr.
That
Bivens.
that really hurts. I think that hurts. The only good the only good spot in all this, while Spence is playing Pete, he does not quest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he does not quest a lot. He only quests with his location, and yeah, with his bits a bit. But I mean that he does not advance in his own game plan because Space is playing an aggro deck, and when you're playing an aggro deck, you actually want to lure.
Yeah, you got a quest, but he does have some instant lore in hand in both of those gathering wisdoms. And I think you're going to get another Pete, and Zach's got to be like, you have got to be kidding me. This is a Pete bounce, Pete bounce, Pete situation. And you are just like, bro, if I can just get these Zeuses to go off, if I can just survive, as Daisy Duck is another character you can play, it is uninkable. You've drawn so many uninkable cards. I didn't count how many you're playing, but it can't be that many to the point where you have literally 6 in your hand right now. It is going to be in the form of Daisy Duck, but Zach is cool, calm, and collected. He's going to try to play this thing all the way through. But we have 4 or 5 coming back your way with 4 more in hand, so that'll bring you up to 9. Is that game? I can't do basic mathematics, Queen. You have to excuse me. But you can quest for 5. That'll get you up to 16, and the game is over. Yeah, you just lose because you can just double gather here, and you are completely out.
Yeah, that's game.
That's the way it go. That's the way it go, Yugs. I hate to see it. And he's doing the mathematics
That's
now.
something we did not envisage at all. Like 4 is really.
That is miserable. And we got 1 gather, 2 gather, and Mr. Bivens goes down sitting on a brick factory. I'm talking bricks.
Yeah, and he
Oh
shows his hand to Speci. Yeah.
Holy, it do be like that sometimes. You hate to see it. Oh my goodness, that is miserable. When it rains, it pours. Mr. Bivens got to be like, okay, all right, come on, deck. Don't do me like that again. Jeez Louise. And it was another
Yeah.
two. Look. Oh my goodness. He mills the two off the top, and there's more uninks coming. Goodness gracious. Hey, let's shuffle that deck up a little bit, number one seed. But he's been here before. And that was a super quick match too. I would hate to see that thing just go that way again. But I would like to see a game number 3. You know me, Queen. I love a good game 3. And
Yeah, yeah, me too,
honestly, I just like a
definitely.
good game in general. And that was just very, very one sided as Mr. Bivens wasn't even able to play a card onto the board. Hate to see it.
I was just counting the uninkables. I think he only has like 15.
Yeah.
15, if I'm not mistaken. I'll just double check. I mean, Zach.
And he drew,
And
yeah. So we can count.
how many?
He drew
So
four
it's
four
16. Sorry,
Zeuses.
it's 16.
Yeah, he drew four Zeuses. He drew the Storm. He drew the Daisy. He drew the Whole New World. He drew so many of them. It's just I don't know. It just happens like that sometimes. So Mr. Bivens getting a good high quality shuffle in. Just like, bro, we got to be kidding me with that one. I'm gonna mix these cards up because that was just absolutely bananas. Especially like, let's run it back. Let's do that again. Let's do it
Yeah,
again.
that was just crazy. That was crazy.
Oh
For
man.
Zeus and like 10 uninkables out of 16.
It had a lot. Hey, that was definitely a lot. And we got some chat coming in. You guys catching up to the whole brick situation that happened over there with Mr. Bivens. And you got both of the world's greatest criminal minds as well, which is basically an unplayable land in this matchup. It's basically ink. You can't really do anything with it. So that card, he drew both of those as well. Hate to see it. Hate to absolutely see it. So I thought this matchup would be much, much better for Mr. Bivens. However, Speci won't be denied. He's going to continue to operate. He's going to continue to do his thing and see what happens here. But whew, that was hard.
That's Disney Lorcana. There is always some like, Disney magic to it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to be in that underdog position, and that is one hard part about that's not my mouse on the screen. That is one hard part about being like a really, really good player like Zach Bivens is. You're never going to get to be the underdog anymore. And that kind of sucks because you don't want people to rooting against you. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Bivens is, no one's really rooting against anybody in this game. We just want good, fair play. But seriously, it's hard to be on top because everyone's going to be like, oh man, he's got enough. Let me see him. Let me see him go down. When you're at top, people just want to see you fall off. But still, shout out to both of them. And this hand looks a lot more competent and capable. As we will go ahead and get another shuffle in. And
Sorry for
no,
disappearing.
you're good. No, you're good. You're good, Queen. You are so good. We're back and looking over at Mr. Speci's hand. There, you got some fire to cannons. You got a Maleficent on 1 with a little bounce on 2 with Snake if you feel so inclined, or maybe some ink to go down. And it looks like you're going to be sending back a nice bit of card there. You send back those giant cobras, which may not be good. Do you think Mr. Bivens regrets only having one of Storm Rage on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all this early aggro cards, I mean, the Smees.
I think he'd like to have a whole play set of those at this one, but it didn't work out that way. And it looks like we got another mulligan, or another altar phase is complete. We do have some Daisy, we do have some Smee, we got some Lawrence, some big bodies. You got a lot of ink there, so you can actually play a little bit better of a game this time, and you will be on the play, which is always quite advantageous. So
Always a pleasure, yeah. Always a pleasure. If it's best of 3, yeah, you really want to be on the play. By the way, while playing best of 2, what's your take on being on the play? Do you still think it's like advantages, or you don't really care?
If I get to go first, I'm always just going to go first because I think there is a pretty significant advantage to being on the play, even in best of 2, because they don't know your deck and what you're trying to do. They're still going to be making some blind decisions. And I still and the advantage of winning on the draw, or going second in the best of 2 format is really not that much in terms of tiebreakers. Because people sometimes say, "Oh, there is an advantage because you get better tiebreakers if you go second." I don't think it's worth having that a slight advantage of going first in the blind, because they'll alter their hand different. They'll ink certain cards differently if they are in the blind versus in that game number 2. Once the cat's out of the bag, they can play you a lot more competently. What about you? What do you think about that?
I'm totally with you on it. I think like when you go first, it gives you also this like significant mental boost. Let's say so.
Mm-hmm.
Like you go first, yes, and you you're happy to start, let's say so.
Hmm.
And also, if you win the game, your opponent has this like, now I definitely have to win, and they have more stress, let's say so. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I
yeah,
always try. I always
yeah.
start when I can start. Yeah.
And to your point too, like when you win that first game, you feel so confident and comfortable because at a minimum you're only going to get a draw, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
that's
it.
fine. But they have so much more pressure because they just need the draw, and that's going to be like that a portion of time. We're going to go ahead and ink and fire the cannon onto the Cinderella immediately. Love to see that if you're Speci. That is a good turn to maneuver, clearing that singer. Even though there was no song, you will clear it off. No big deal. Speci didn't know that. Keep it in mind, the blue area is hidden from your adversary. This is just opens for informational purposes. As we'll go ahead and ink the Neverland, and we'll go ahead and spam 2 daisies to the play. Pass back on over to the specimen, who has to figure out. He has the bad job of figuring out this board, which is quite cumbersome as well.
Yeah, by the way, there were different choices. I mean, Zach could have also played just the Smee, for example, or playing one location and one daisy while linking the Smee. Yeah, so I also think that he wanted to get rid of his uninkables in his hand.
Mm-hmm. I think
So probably that's why, yeah, not only maybe he wanted to go to aggro, but also, yeah, I guess you don't really want to have an uninkable daisy in your hand. It kind of stick.
Yeah, and that does happen. But now it seems like we got a better game. I'm just catching up with the chat. They just saw that complete brickolation, and a lot of people are just saying, I don't like. I personally don't like that. I want to compete. I want to see competition, and I don't want to see people just failing because their deck just failed to function. But it is what it is. That is a part of the game. We all sign that contract when we sit down and load up and say, hey, this is what I want to do. You run the risk, and that's why this game still has that random aspect, and it's always going to be a part of it. I do appreciate that, but I just hate it when it does happen. As we're going to get double daisy trigger, we'll reveal your nemesis Pete back at it again, added to the hand, and we will reveal the Merlin goat as well, who's going to be added to the hand for the clean +2.
Yeah, I guess Zach just hates seeing the speed. That completely ruined the first game.
But you do
All
have the you
right,
have
so
a
Lauren's
sorry,
coming.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess like Pete, it was like, yeah, the nemesis as you called him.
Yeah, he doesn't want to see the Pete, especially if he got a little bit of bounce, and you can just put the Pete back. But it looks like we put the Pete down into the inkwell. If I'm not mistaken, no, he has Pete in hand. He's just behind the goat. As you got quite a few cards in hand, you do have a lot of bounce for this Pete as well. So you could go Pete on 3 and just start bouncing it again. I think the numbers don't line up. I think you need 5 ink to start the Pete bounce operation to keep him an eternal Pete, or at least 2 Pete, so you can put Pete on 4. But you can still try it and see if it works out. But that will require Mr. Bivens to get this Bianca down, and then cast a whole new, or exert the Bianca to sing the whole new world next turn. As I don't know if that's even going to be something you want to do versus his deck. But this is interesting spot. A lot of decisions need to be made here, as the decision is going to be quest 3 with the Maleficent. We could go for a snake bounce here, bring Maleficent back,
Yeah, that's what
or
he
fox
does.
bounce.
And also, I want to mention that Zach needs to have an inkable card next turn, because otherwise he won't be able to play that Bianca
Oh,
as she goes for. And
oh, not
oh
again.
my God, here we go again.
Not again.
Here
Not
we go
again. Not
again.
like this. Not like this. Oh my goodness. These Zeuses are just.
Inking Bianca and playing this, probably. I don't really know if he wants to go for this.
I
I'm
mean,
just thinking of
he would
any
love to.
different
Yeah,
options.
he would
You
love to
really don't want
sing.
to.
Sing with that
You really
Bianca
don't
though.
want to ink Bianca here, because you want to, like, yeah, you want to sing the whole new world with her further. But it's also very bad skipping a tour, skipping your
Yeah.
turn. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, my French is interfering.
Yeah. Skipping an entire turn just feels miserable. I think you might have to just ink this Bianca and hard cast this Zeus just to have some type of, that amount of tempo loss just seems just miserable. As we will go ahead and reveal the use the daisy, get 2 more lore, and I think Mr. Bivens is thinking about it. You could take a turn off and just kind of quest this Lawrence maybe, But I just think that is just such a huge down tempo, and you got no choice. As sad as it sounds, some ink with it right there, and it would have been cash money. As you are going to go ahead and Zeus up the Fox, and then you can quest the big body Bends. The Lawrence is going to go over two, maybe, or we're going to slam into this Broom, and it
Okay.
looks like you're going to go for
Maybe
two.
two, yeah. Yeah, he goes up to 8, and yeah, I guess Pete will come again.
Yeah. So if you, I think it's time to Pete. Yeah, you can Pete for the next couple turns here, as you do have a Pete and a Snake going into that. Are we? I think we're going into the 5 ink turn. No, you're going into the 4 ink turn. So you still might be a little bit off of the Pete lock for life. Oh, sorry, I never turned my alerts off. I do appreciate the follows. I'm unprofessional. My alerts are still on. Thank you guys for the following from the future. We are on a slight delay, and we're going to let it rock. But thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it. This is Speci. This is Mr. Bivens, who's holding the One Whole New World in hand. So you're hoping for no Pete, and you're hoping for a 5 ink Whole New World rip here. But that just feels miserable. Speci is trying to anticipate this and maybe go for a big splash, try to reduce your hand a little bit. But maybe you can go for Pete here and then make that play the next turn. I think might be what Speci is kind of hoping for here. What would you do in this
Yeah.
spot? Would you go for Pete, or would you try to spam the board and clear your hand and get a bunch of lore in play?
Well, I'm afraid that knowing that the only card that Zach has is a whole new world, I would definitely go for Pete.
Mm-hmm.
But not knowing that, maybe I would still spam the board because I would tell myself that it's impossible to sing the whole new world with a character. It's only possible to hard cut this, and for this you need to have two cards, one inkable and one whole new world. So probably I would just spam the board because it's always very bad for a player who is playing against Yellow Steel if Yellow Steel sings
Mm-hmm.
their whole new world. But when it's hard casted, it's not so bad. So that's why,
Yeah.
like, I think that's why Speci wants to spam the board instead of playing Pete
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah, I guess he just has to do this. I mean, Zach has probably to ink his Lawrence, and then he hard cuts the whole new world because he definitely needs more card to play, not
Mm-hmm.
to find himself like on a top deck.
True.
So
And then you can come back in next turn and Pete. But still, even if you go Pete that last turn and then spam the other turn, maybe you can find some more bounce and then bounce the Pete, redeploy the Pete again, because you will be going into that 5 ink turn. So you could have last turn you could have inked, go Pete and Maleficent, and then next turn bounce the Pete, play Pete and another one drop. And I think you're just locking them out, and you can kind of write your own ticket in that position. But I could be wrong. I'm sure Speci's much more in tune with his deck than I could be. He got a lot of reps on it. But that's just what I would have liked to see. Just get that Pete train going early, and that would ensure that your opponent can't play this whole new world on you here. Zach's still running the numbers right now, seeing if it's even worth it. But next turn, you can go that Pete route, and then you can start setting up for a little dock play too, because you'll be on that 5 ink turn, and this could be the part where you blow this game open and you can't come back.
yeah, I think he's hesitating because he's a 10 already, but I
Mm-hmm.
still kind of don't understand this decision because if there is another Fox, I mean, Madam Mim Fox coming, Zach will just quickly lose his advantage, his board lore advantage, let's say so.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I don't know. I think I would have played the whole new world because, like, Pete is bad and Spacey can have Pete, and the Fox is even worse, I think.
True, but he,
Like
he
it's
does
so
have.
bad because
He's
it
going to have to
just
go into.
destroys
He's
his
going to have to get
board.
some trades in with this Lawrence. And the last thing you really wanted, I think, refilling the burn player's deck, or the story player's deck, as Speci likes to call it. I think that might be a double-edged sword as well, because you're going to discard a bunch of cards, but they're going to draw much more burn back, and they can turn this game around in terms of just racing to the finish line. So it's tough. I don't know if you just hard cast the whole new world. Maybe you do there, but I'm sure Zach is, again, both of these players. This is why they're here. This is why they have been selected to participate in this event, because they make these types of decisions. And these are decisions that you can learn from when you find yourself in these spots. If everyone watching at home or on YouTube in the future, on Twitch, shout out to everyone on Twitch, you can make those assessments and kind of look back and see what worked and what didn't work. And that is the beauty of this game, in my opinion, because I can do one thing one way, you can do one thing a certain way another way, And who's to say what's right and what's wrong? It's all about your game, and that's why we play it, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and it's so fun, and at the same time, it's like not only it is entertaining, but it's also educating to see the players of such level
Mm-hmm.
play one against another. It's so cool, and I really appreciated you mentioning that Speci is not just a random guy, because some people think that casters are not good players just because they cast, but it doesn't work this way because also you can cast and also be a good player.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I get clapped up. I'll get clapped, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? I will say I'm cheeks. I'll be cheeks, but I know Speci can play. I know Zach can play. I know some broadcasters can play. I'm okay. I'm decent, but I don't think I'm a world class player. There are levels to this, and I understand that I am limited. When I say world class player, I mean a world player that's going to worlds, a nationally ranked player, a nationally accredited player, a player that is going to Nats, a player, a DLC champion. There are levels to this game, and people are better than other people, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Having someone be a better player than you, that's okay. That is a part of the experience. Everyone can't be the best, and that is fine. As we are going to go ahead and get a nice quest in from Speci's point of view, going all the way up to 11, and then we will deploy the Pete. And you're trying to represent a Lorthal type situation here, as Mr. Bivens is going to have to do some heavy lifting as you're going to pass in this situation with Pete in play. Doc is in play, and we got another whole new world. You have got to be kidding me. Mr. Bivens, what witch doctor have you been dealing with? Like, who have you been talking to? Like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, who are you cursed by? Don't step on any cracks. Don't go buy a lottery ticket after this tournament is over, because your deck is doing you zero favors in this situation, man, as you have drawn the whole new world. So now you're in a tight spot with the Sir Pete is staring you down. You have to do some cleaning, and quite a
Yeah,
bit of cleaning,
yeah, yeah,
actually.
yeah. Yeah, Speci is lethal. If
Yeah,
Zach doesn't clean the board, yeah, Speci is just lethal.
yeah.
He goes
So
up
that's
to
2,
20.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 right there. So you can clean up pretty effectively. You can clean up 6, I would say,
Yeah,
without
6.
causing too much strife. And that'll put Speci at 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 going up to 15 next turn, holding on to double whole new world, which is just basically an unplayable card in this match, especially in this position. And now you can't even play it because Pete is blowing the whistle on you. So you're just like, oh my goodness, this is just a misery incarnate type situation as we
He
are
only
staring
has
down.
4 ink anyway, actually. Like, he doesn't even have enough ink to play.
Yeah, he can't even play it. He can't even hardcast if he wanted to. Even if Pete wasn't a part
Yeah.
of it, he still couldn't play it. As we're going to go ahead and send Daisy on in to the Maleficent. So that's 2
Yeah.
off the board.
And the problem is then when you kill the characters, sorry, you banish, we
There you
don't
go.
kill them, Lorcana. When you banish the characters with Lawrence's, they become weak because they will only have 1 attack
Mm-hmm.
after dealing with, for example, Mrs. Me or even a Maleficent.
So how many?
Oh.
How much is he threatening now? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll put you up to 19. So maybe Mr. Bivens is thinking about maybe dropping the
Yeah,
location.
just
You
like
can clean the location quite easily and keep your Lawrence at full value, and then maybe take out the Maleficent, or you can just quest these Lawrences. Go up to
you can quest,
you.
but it's quite risky, yeah, because gathering knowledge and wisdom, and it's over.
Yeah, and he does
There
have
is
that
only
dock in
one
hand.
card. There is only one card in Speci's hand, so maybe he will take the risk. I'm just thinking, yeah, when you are in such a bad position, you need to think how you can win, like what you can top deck, what miracle can happen so that you win. So I
Yeah.
think that's why the problem is that sometimes you trade and you know that you will just like kind of make the game longer, but you will
Mm.
not win. So
We're
I
going
guess
for it.
that's why.
We're saying you
Yeah,
don't got it. We're saying you don't got it. And Speci gains 1. We go up to 12. Get into the broom. So you can get a couple rips here. You have a few draws. You can play that broom for 1, and then you can dock in, and then do the dock ability. I believe you can bag it to where the dock is drawing 2, and then you can trigger both brooms. I think that's how that works. I'm not sure. We can quest that broom for sure. Quest out and put the real bind onto Mr. Bivens' spot, because you're going to have to clean hard as well. So you can.
Yeah, you need to clean 2 characters at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that you need 7 damage. So 3 to Daisy, and yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Speci definitely can do this. So
It will
maybe it's
cost you a bit of your board presence
mm,
though, as we are going to ink the magic broom instead, and then we are going to dock. So I don't think you can. The broom actually might have to engage in challenging right now, or you're trying to play some more outs. Maybe you can get to another fox perhaps and get some bounce in, so you still can
mm,
quest.
I think maybe he cannot engage in challenging right now because he probably won't be lethal if he draws a goat and if he doesn't
Mm,
quest with his broom. I think that's why probably he inked a broom.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard choice.
This is
It
a
really
very very
depends.
tough
Yeah.
spot for sure. I would have just went all in and just brought the broom in and popped and do. I would have misplayed here probably, but I think that would have been such a gamble that's almost irresistible. As we are going to go dock here, full time dock. We're going to show the snake. We're going to show the Chromacon. You hate that Chromacon right here, because you feel like you got your opponent in a pretty decent spot. We are going to pop the broom. We'll get one. It's a Chernobog, so you can splash more characters onto the board, or you can protect some of your guys that you have. But you want this Smee going at least up for 2, and you got to clear at least 4 lore off of the side of the board. So at least the Daisy and one of those Lawrences have to go now. So we're thinking Pete's got 3. I don't think Speci's playing crabs or anything like that. So you got Pete and Smee together. So you might have to lose this Maleficent, honestly. And
Yeah,
that
I
stinks.
think
Yeah.
he has to lose this Maleficent because as he quested with his broom, the broom can no longer attack Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get him down to 1 point of attack, and yeah,
Or
so
you
to
can
finish him off.
you can have the Pete go into the Daisy, and Pete will take back 1. You can send in either lose whichever one you favor the most, either the Maleficent or the Smee. I'm probably sending the Maleficent in and then the Smee into one of the Lawrences, and the game goes on. And then you can bounce the snake and bounce and redeploy the Maleficent and have another outside Lorthal shot there. So these are some tremendous decisions that both of these players are playing, as the Ultra Megatonics are coming in with the Raid Dog Supreme. Much love to Earlmeister, as I was probably going to come in and raid you, and now you're raiding me, because we were doing the LCCC for all the Ultra Megatonics out there. Much love to Earlmeister. We need to talk again offline, because I'm all in on building Lorcana in the Philippines with Earl. I really like that project that he's working on, and I want to contribute to that heavily. So much love to you, Earl, and thanks for the raid. This is game number 2. Mr. Bivens is down pretty bad, as we are trying to find a way to get it out of the mud, as we are going to take the play. We got the Smee to clear the required amount of lore, and we will have GG's imminent next turn. Just got to put some more characters in. Okay, and this looks just so miserable. And there's no reach in this deck at all, Queen. So there's no way to just gain some instant burst. No,
there are no flutes.
yeah. So you might have to like hard cast the whole new world. Maybe hope for some strength. And what is strength going to do, I guess, with one character, which is just like so bad. It feels very, very bad. This feels unwinningly bad, as we are going to go ahead and bring forth the snake. We'll bounce the dock back to him, or bounce the Pete. No, bounce the dock or the Smee, and then redeploy the Smee. Decisions. I'm probably taking that dock just because I'm wild like that.
Bounce the Diablo and place him back. I
Mm-hmm.
think Speci at that point, he just wants to keep his board as big as possible to be sure that he will be able to go to 20.
Bruh.
Oh my god, just no, it's not his day. It's not the day. It's not the day, bro. 3 new world right here. Oh, that's breaking. That's breaking. That's yellow still.
Bruh. Hey, when it rains, it pours. Oh my God, Queen. I had to take a quick walk away on that. Sorry, you guys had to see my legs. I am wearing shorts. Okay. I know I got the pink jacket on, Queen. I know I got the pink jacket on, but
Yeah.
I had to take it. I can't take it. So we're gonna go hop into the Discord, and oh my goodness, that was a mess. We're gonna hop in and we're gonna get some post game interviews, and here we go. So I will make sure if you could just mute yourself in the video, we're gonna hop in. Yo, Speci, can you hear me?
Hello.
Get
I can.
get in, get in. You got the dub.
Get in, yeah.
Oh my
Happy
goodness.
days.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So give me just a sec as I switch it back over to the screen. And I gotta first, I'm gonna say congratulations to you for coming out and getting the victory over probably one of the best players in the game. There, I'm gonna let you run back the film. I'm sure you got a good intense feeling about some Disney Lorcana. You kind of felt what happened, but let me tell you, your Zach Bivens deck didn't do him any favors on that one. But still, I want to hear from you. Can you just talk about how that matchup typically goes and what are some of the things you learned in training or your preparation to come into the LCC facing off against Mr. Bivens?
Well, yeah. Firstly, I mean, commiserations to Zach. Obviously, didn't go his way. I have to say, I also drew very well.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy with how I played, though. Right, like even though he got very unlucky, I can only do what I'm in control of, and I'm happy with the decisions that I made in this game, which is really nice. I think in the previous round against Kurt, I felt like I kind of deserved to win in a way, and it just didn't quite happen. Although I did win a die roll in that one, so. Yeah, for me, it's nice, really nice to get the win. I was definitely quite actually inspired by Zach with my inclusion of fairy ships in the deck because I saw him rocking Neverland and Amber Steel, and obviously there's been like a few people rocking fairy ships and stuff like that. So those snuck into the deck for this match, and yeah, big shout out to Zach because he's a very very good player and also a really good dude. So
absolutely, and no one wants to sit there and like go through a bricking situation. But can you just go over some of those decisions in game number one, specifically the usage of Pete and how effective that was, and how the fairy ship went, and what were some of the thought processes going through your mind? And also, can you talk about that in game number two, why you didn't take that same approach on that going into that fifth ink turn? You go Pete and then bounce Pete and just keep trying to play that game again.
Yeah, so game one, like obviously he didn't play a card on turn two. I think he had. I can't remember what he played on one. Maybe Cindy. Yeah, it was Cindy on turn one, and I like played into the Cindy with like a Diablo Head Storm. He missed turn two, and then obviously like once I play Pete and he like skips his turn, like I've obviously just got a pretty big read that his whole hand's full of songs, and my hand was pretty good to begin with. That's why I kept my opening hand. I think that was probably like there was like two big decisions really for me in game one. I think the main one was just keeping the hand, like it was serviceable. I might have been tempted to try and dig for like the one fire the cannons I play, or like dig for some more stuff, but I realized that it was just very playable. I had a smooth curve, which is like usually my go-to curve with any Amethyst deck is one drop on turn one and then turn two double one drop. Like you'll almost never see me play like a two drop on turn two, which is another reason I like the fairy ships. And then I think just the other big decision really was making sure I drew off the Churnabox followers, because I was kind of tempted to just leave it there and let it go. But I think I did like a tiny bit of testing before the game, and I think I realized that I can actually run out of cards. And then game two, I think like the big decision point was the turn I went like Pete Maleficent or something like this. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was like I played like I went very wide, and it's a skill that or not a skill, but something that's probably worth noting is that when you're playing an aggro deck, when you're going second, which I was, I think a lot of people misunderstand how you're supposed to play it, and it comes down to a very simple concept, which I think will help people. You need to flip the game state at some point from where you are the person challenging and to where your opponent starts challenging. So as soon as like I put Zach in a position with the Maleficent questing power to just get that like little extra bit of lore that those cards give me, just turn the game state into a position where Zach had to take challenges, and I was able to close it out as a result.
Absolutely. I did see that. But Quinn, you have any questions for Speci before we go over to Zach and bring him in? I thought it was an incredibly played match. I thought you did everything that you needed to do to get to where you wanted to be. But Quinn, what did you see from your perspective before we kick it on over to Mr. Bivens?
Yeah, I would just maybe ask that in terms of matchup, in terms of the percentages, how do you see this? Who is in general, like when you're playing, is Stillsong?
Yeah. Well, the fairy ships are like a new addition, obviously, for me, and those are good in the matchup. I've also got Diablos, Pete, so there's definitely lines, like also the one fire the cannons. I think it's also particularly important to mention, Zach and I were talking about it before we started the stream, that I queued a good week. I picked a good week to queue into Zach, because like basically everyone in the losers bracket, I think apart from Zach and I, is playing blue, playing some sort of sapphire deck if I'm not mistaken. So I think with that in mind, Zach tweaked his list, right? Like he's only playing 3 Cindy's, only 2 Storms. So I definitely picked the right week to queue into him. And it's also the week that I added in the fairy ships. And yeah, I think like I've got like a decent shot in the matchup. I would say I'm probably unfavored, but I didn't test the matchup too much. But like, yeah, usually against Steel Song, obviously if they're playing things like Grab Your Swords, you're kind of toast. But fortunately, like the decks have moved away from that a little bit. So I would say like going. What's that? Sorry.
I mean, like grabs are really ample to like.
Yeah. So I think I got lucky to definitely the luck was on my side in this one. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I'm happy to win.
Speaking of luck being on someone's side, we're going to bring in Mr. Bivens. You know, powerhouse of the cell. He's definitely one of the, in my opinion, one of the top 4 elements of Lorcana right now. Just had a very strong season. But that matchup, I got first question I got to ask. Who did you curse? Like what's happening with your chi? I mean, did you step on some cracks? Did you break a mirror? Did you walk under a ladder? Like what's happening with your deck there, man? It just failed to function completely. You were breaking Omega in both games. Can you just talk about that experience and what, I mean, I can't even really ask you what you could have done because your deck just did not give you any out. So how did that feel sitting there on that side of the game?
You know, before the match, I spoke to the Lorcana gods and I told them, let's just throw this one away so we're good at the World Championship.
Let's go.
So we got it all out now.
Let's go. So unfortunately, the run does stop here. So you're not going to get a chance to go back-to-back LCCC winner. But in this matchup, typically, what was your game plan had you had the opportunity to execute it? Because you built your deck, you did take out some of the Ruby Sapphire cards. You hedged hard for Ruby Sapphire. You got the 3 world's greatest criminal minds are in the deck. You cut all the way down to 2 Storm. You're still on 4 wheels, and you load up with Speci. Can you just talk about how that felt getting paired with Speci after you augmented your deck to go heavy into Ruby Sapphire and Steel?
Yeah, you're right. So I absolutely hedged into playing at Sapphire for sure. But I also felt like I'm favored against Speci no matter what, like just the matchup, the way it goes. So I was totally fine with that. And like, I'm happy to pair into him instead of Ruby Sapphire. So like, I'll take it. I feel like with my deck, the way it's constructed this week, it's like 55% my favor in a normal matchup, 60 or higher probably. But yeah, I felt good. No matter what, I felt good with the matchup.
Right. But then you opening quad Zeus game 1 and triple Whole New World game 2. You're not winning a lot of those, but was there any points in the game, like, do you feel like you left the play on the table? Was there something you think you could have done different to increase yourself? Maybe in that game 1, did you ever have an idea to maybe get down with those aerials a little bit, have them exerted, or just were you just hoping to just start singing and get all those Zeus's out of your hand?
Yeah, I can never turn those aerials sideways if they're not singing. If I'm just like crashing into a fairy ship or something, his Pete.
Oh, we lost Zach a little bit there. Sorry, we're breaking
at that point.
Yeah, we are having a little bit of tech issues. I can hear you a little bit. You are breaking up a bit. So can you just say that last part again?
I was just.
That's not me. Is it?
I think he was saying like as soon as he starts like challenging the fairy ship with aerial.
And if I ever turn those aerials sideways and they're not singing against.
I think.
Against that.
Can I be a Zach translator?
Yeah. Speci, give me some Zach translation because Zach is turning into a robot and having some serious tech issues there, and everything is going to be on.
Yeah, he's just saying like as soon as like those arrows go into fairy ship or something, like I just take him out with Pete and then he like loses the board. Like basically as soon as he takes those challenges, it's that similar kind of concept, right? Like as soon as he's challenging, he's in a tight spot. So yeah, he definitely did. He really have like 3 whole new worlds and 3 Zeus like from the rip.
No, he drew him like back to back. Like it was one turn, the turn where he inked that Bianca. I was so sad because I was like, if he can stick this Bianca, if he could just draw Inkable card and stick this Bianca, he can turn this thing around. And he had to ink that Bianca and play that and hardcast that Zeus. I was like, this game is over, and that is just so sad. In the one turn, I think he was debating on maybe hardcasting the Whole New World and just like, okay, I'm gonna run the numbers and I'm just not gonna do it. And he ended up, I think he quested the Lawrence and he drew like back to back, like run. It was just a mess, dude. It was a mess. But still, that's the game. And I didn't mention that in the broadcast. If you guys ever listen back to it, it'll be on YouTube probably tomorrow. So make sure you guys go ahead and check out the YouTube. But I did mention, hey, this is a part of trading card games. This is a contract that we all sign. It's not chess for a reason. And when you say I want to play a trading card game, I am going to risk having these brick opportunities, and that's just a part of it. So, as Zach said, getting out of the way before Worlds, and that's going to be what it is. But, Angelica, do you have any questions for Mr. Bivens? I'm sorry, hogging the whole interview again, as we got the Queen, Mia is in the building right now.
Do we have a question maybe for both players. I can't say that I was very surprised by the decision of inking Bianca because I think you cannot skip a turn against an aggro deck. But actually, I have a question for the next turn. I think maybe, like as I said, I think I would have inked the second Lawrence to hardcast the whole new world. And like, what do you think? What do like both Speci and Zach? What do you think of this? Maybe like, yeah, it's easy to say when you know that there were like more holy words coming, but I didn't know this either when I said that like I would have inked the Lawrence just to like make sure to have some cause to play with.
Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's talk about the turn before that. Like when I ink and play Lawrence, I have the Bianca and Whole New World in hand.
Yeah, that turn.
So I could skip playing. Okay, yeah. So I could skip playing the Lawrence, so I have ink on next turn. But I think with the way that the game opened up, I have to take some chances to be able to win. I think if I just pass that turn, then I'm just never winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I had 51 cards in deck, and 9 of them were bricks. The 4 Zeus, the 3 Whole New Worlds, and the 2 more deities. So I had an 18% chance to lose the game essentially. So I had to take the 82% chance to be in a good spot, and the 18% just hit. So nothing I could do about that.
Okay. And I mean, it's just the numbers, like I said.
And if I hardcast Whole New World, I'm never winning that game because he has so much burn in his deck with the Cobras and the Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. So if I ever hardcast Whole New World, I'm just not winning. So I played the odds and it just didn't work out.
Absolutely, and it does happen. Like I said, it's just going to be one of those things that you just sometimes you're going to have it and sometimes you don't. But Speci, you got some questions coming in from the future or the past as it may be, and a lot of people are asking about your logic behind the word story instead of burn. Why are you so anti-burn and why are you so pro story?
Okay, so I was casting European Championships and there was a burn deck. And I referred to it as a burn deck, and I got a bit told off. So ever since, I've been searching for a better word. And in Lorcana, when you get like 20 lore, you get like a story style. So rather than like, for example, saying like, he's got lethal on board.
Yeah.
You might be able to say like, he's got story on board. It hasn't really caught on, but like, I think maybe with the lore it could. So that's the idea. I was searching for something to say instead of burn for ages. I asked everyone in chat. That was the best we came up with. Maybe like a shooting star deck or something could also work because
Okay.
I don't know.
Little pixie,
I'm not really sure story works, but I'm trying to make it.
Okay, I like it. I'll start pushing it too, man. I mean, story may not be it, but whatever we land on, I'll start promoting it as well, and it's gonna be like that. I did enjoy the matchup. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't that super grindy back and forth match that I want to see. I want to see you guys playing at your best possible level, but hopefully, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be like that a portion of times as we stated. But shout out to both of you guys, man, and I do appreciate everything you both do for the community. And Speci, you're representing yourself well. I mean, everyone, for some reason, you're always going to be the underdog in these world-class situations. I did mention that in the intro.
That's how I want to be, mate. That's how I like it.
and you're doing it the iron way, man. You're playing a budget-friendly deck. So I am secretly rooting for you, but I don't want to root against Mr. Bivens because I do look up to him as well as an incredible player. I wish I could root for everybody, but there has to be some winners and there has to be some people that go down. But before we start letting you gentlemen go, I know you got some things that you need to do. Can we get some shout-outs? We'll start with you, Speci, as the winner. Shout-outs to yourself or anything that you want to discuss.
Yeah, big shout out to Zach, top player, top guy. Also want to say thank you to Zoe from my locals. She was helping me test just before. She beat me, I think, 4 or 5 times. So she gave me some good practice. So thank you to her.
Absolutely. How about you, Mr. Bivens?
Yeah, so first I want to shout out Speci for sure. He played amazing. Absolutely deserved the win. And shout out to you guys casting. You did a great job. And thanks for the judges being here. They help a lot behind the scenes. So
I agree.
Really appreciate them.
Absolutely. All right, but gentlemen, we'll let you guys both get ready, get loose for your next round. Mr. Bivens, I'm sorry the run ends here. I was hoping for a back-to-back situation, but it's not going to happen. We're going to wait to the World Championship. Whenever that comes around, we'll have you locked in and engaged. You can hopefully that doesn't happen again, but we will be rooting for you. And Speci, make sure you guys get over to Speci on Twitch, Speci on YouTube, Speci on everywhere. When he's playing Lorcana, when he's picking up Star Wars and Gwent, get right up out of there. Okay, just leave. All right, but when he's back on Lorcana, make sure you throw him likes and follows and everything of that sort to support him to do more Lorcana activity. But that's all we have, gentlemen. Again, thank you so much for your participation and being out here, and it means a lot to the community for you guys to take your time to do that.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, and that is going to be Speci, and that is going to be Mr. Bivens, and we have the Queen back at it again. So, Queen, thoughts? How do you think that match went? Did it go the way that you think it would have gone?
No, not at all. I mean, like, I was expecting to see the bastard sweep firstly, right? I definitely expected like Speci to win one game, maybe the one where he's like on the play. But I definitely thought that yellow still is kind of still, it's a favorable matchup for yellow still. So yeah, it was very harsh. I mean, like breaking, but I think also breaking sometimes it's this inevitable part of playing yellow still, of playing any deck that plays whole new worlds actually. So yeah, I think it's even like deeper than that. You said that when you're playing TCGs, you're accepting this risk. And I would say that if you're playing any decks like Steel deck that plays whole new worlds, you're like accepting this down risk.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
In general, it's more difficult to break if you're playing something adverse, something fast, like if you're playing green purple as so, or like purple steel as Speci did. You have less chances of breaking at the very beginning of the game. You can actually still break, but like in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that way a portion of the time for sure. But I still honestly thought it was a great match. I hate when people break and go down, but it's going to, you just have to accept it. But it is what it is. But Queen, I think we're about to wrap this thing up. We're about to sign it on off.
Yeah, definitely. A huge shout out to Pavel for organizing this tournament, this LCCC series, because it's amazing. I think it's amazing for everybody, like for the players, because especially considering the fact that we all know that there is not so much happening at the competitive Lorcana scene right now. So everybody has been waiting for the Worlds, for any announcements, and it's so great. It's like, I think Pavel is doing such a great job of like filling in this gap, and like I can't appreciate it more.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. So shout out to Pavel, shout out to all the judges and the staff behind the scene. LEO, I believe. I'm so sorry. I think we had a new judge in the building today. Let me make sure I get their name correctly, because I don't want to say it incorrectly. But maybe Phil, if you're online. Beth, it was Beth. Yo, shout out to Phil and shout out to Beth. I think they did an incredible job keeping that thing moving on along. And of course, huge shout out to the Pixelborn community and Pavel for organizing all of this, and all of you for being here and rocking and rolling and all the new follows and making it be a vibrational thing. And we're going to come back at you better than ever, as more LCCC will continue very soon. But until the next time, I'm JDZ. I'm on a quest. We're going to get out of here for now, and then we'll be back. I have another stream I'll probably do this evening, and then there'll be another tournament I'll be covering this weekend.